Maddie to return. In the basement, Alex and his father were tied to a pole. Alex tried chewing through the rope and finally was able to break free. The dark basement smells like mold and it was hard to see. Farmer Paul was slowly dying and losing blood. Alex could hear voices of the angry mom screaming outside. He scrambled to see what weapon he could use if his captor came downstairs. In a box marked with a skull he found an old Wild West Colt Peacemaker revolver. "In my pocket," his father whispered. Alex reached into his father's pocket and pulled out 3 bullets. One of them was the lucky silver bullet that his father carried since his grandfather gave it to him when he was a child. "I love you, Alex," Paul said. "Dad, Dad!" Alex yelled. His father had closed his eyes and died. After crying and trying to wake his dead father, Alex went to the top of the steps and put his ear to the door. The yelling outside had stopped and everything had gotten quiet. He kept listening at the door, trying to hear something in the eerie silence that had just come over the place. He cocked the pistol and knew what he had to do. He had only fired guns a few times, but he learned how to hold it from his father. He swung the door open, but no one was there. The clubhouse was silent. He snuck in the room through the bar which came out through the kitchen, and he would make a break for the back door. You, the demonic caretaker screamed in a horrible, terrifying voice that sounded like audio in reverse. It reminded Alex of the urban legends and times he got scared playing old records backwards and trying to find hidden messages. He ran through the kitchen. "Najai death my Louis," the demonic caretaker spoke in a language Alex could not understand. "Pitcha, the gun goes off. Pitcha again, the digen is dead. Pitcha, that's the silver bullet. Click heckin' 31 more, click heckin' 31 more." Chapter 9. Jake rode down the trail towards the clubhouse with Maddie holding onto him on the back. They got to the clubhouse that seemed to have a yellow aura around it. The angry mob had left to the Cave of No Recognition. The Cave of No Recognition was a haunted cave north of the camp, haunted by the evil that once was, and Bogey sent them there where they would remain in hypnotic purgatory. They stopped outside the clubhouse and saw a figure come out the door through the fog. It was Alex who came out and told his story. "Are you okay?" Maddie hugged him and cried. Jake wanted to end this once and for all. "Fuck this shit," he said in an angry way. He went to the tool shed between the club and bunkhouses and got a gas can. "Babe, what are you doing?" Maddie protested. Jake kicked in the clubhouse door and started pouring gas on the meeting room floor. He went upstairs pouring a gas trail the whole way up. He got to a door at the top and kicked it in. It was the caretaker's bedroom. He looked on the dresser and saw a mysterious paper that caught his attention. In Old English letters the envelope read MSS. He opened it up to reveal a folded paper that unraveled into a large map. At the top in Old English letters it read, "The Map of Sacred Secrets." The Map of Sacred Secrets revealed a map of the entire camp. A trail on the map leads to the old burial ground on the border of Pennsylvania and Ohio. The voice of the Indian chief in his head told him he needed to go there. This is where evil will be defeated. He put the folded map into his jacket pocket and continued pouring the gas. He went downstairs and walked to the front door where Alex and Maddie were waiting for him. "We're gonna defeat the evil that killed my father, and that starts with this piece of shit right here." Jake pointed his thumb back at the clubhouse. "Stand back." He pulled a Zippo lighter out from the inside pocket of his jacket and with a swift throw he threw it, and the entire clubhouse went up in flames. The three stood back, feeling the heat from the burning fire. The upstairs windows expelled smoke and the entire building was crackling and on fire. Alex showed Jake the keys to his dad's truck. "Let me see those." Alex threw him the keys. "Let's go." The three hopped in the Ford, Jake driving, Alex in the middle and Maddie in the passenger seat. Off they went into the fog, smoking and passing the pipe between the three of them, getting ready for the battle they would soon face. Interlude. What the fuck is going on here? Who the fuck were the forces that sent all those drunk rednecks to the Cave of No Recognition? What is the Cave of No Recognition? I'll tell you. It's the haunted cave north of the camp where the fallen were sent to live out their drunken stupor in hypnotic purgatory for eternity. It was the curse of the old Indian chief of Nakata tribe who had sent them there to save young Alex. He did not have the power to stop the demonic caretaker, so he left it up to Alex to do what he had to do. In 1876 the Indian chief was killed by the founder of the camp who took his pipe and kept it in his possession. He had evil already in him, so smoking the pipe allowed Bogey to take over his body. The reason Bogey wasn't able to take over the kids is because they were young and the evil couldn't make a strong enough impression on them. During the battle in 1876 the Nakata tribe lived where the Goodwater Hill camp sits today. The founder and his men drove the natives from the land in a series of ferocious battles. The chief of the tribe was killed where the ancient burial ground on the border of Pennsylvania and Ohio sits today on Bogey Way. Bogey is a demon who is as old as time. He's lived through various hosts and possesses them during wars and battles and may be responsible for bad things that have happened throughout history. The high-up members of the camp formed a cult around Bogey. All of them knew about the evil there in some way, including the president of the camp, Jake's father Aaron, the SGT at arms. But the prospects, potential members, were left in the dark. It wasn't until Jessica and Madison discovered the skull pipe that the evil began to be awoken, but when the kids took the first puff at the upper lake is when the evil started back again. The pipe is ancient and was once in the possession of the Native American chief. It makes the user hallucinate and can be used for good, but if the user potentially has evil in them, Bogey can have influence over them and possibly possess them. It didn't matter if marijuana or tobacco was smoked from the pipe, it was the ancient power that would affect the user. The animals that the kids saw were known as the keepers. Coyotes, buzzards, bats, bears and bugs that were possessed by Bogey, all with the one hive mind. After a long time of being possessed, the animals or humans' bodies would wear out and they would devolve into horrific demonic animal-demon hybrid creatures. Jake Stanford knew he had awoken the evil and he regretted his rebellious ways. He wished it would have just been a regular camping trip with him spending time with his dad like the old days. Roasting marshmallows, fishing, shooting guns, and doing camping stuff. Listening to his dad and his friends tell stories from their youth. He reminisced on the time he met Maddie when Jess first brought her to the camp back when things were simple and this whole mess started. Now his father was dead and he felt responsible for all of this. He knew it was him who awakened the evil and awakened Bogey. He knew he had to redeem himself and avenge his father. He knew he had to end the evil of this camp once and for all. He had to avenge the chief. That chief was speaking right to his soul and was the driving force of Jake leading the way to battle the ancient demon who was ultimately responsible for the chief's death. With the protection of the skull pipe and the wisdom of the chief speaking to Jake, Maddie, and Alex, they were ready to go into a spiritual and physical battle with the demon Bogey and end the curse of the camp once and for all. Chapter 10, The Road to Redemption. With the clubhouse a fiery beacon of retribution behind them, Jake, Madison, and Alex barreled down the gravel road in the stolen pickup, the flames reflecting in their wide eyes. The map burned in Jake's pocket, a constant reminder of the gravity of their mission. They approached the burial ground, the truck's headlights cutting through the thick fog that clung to the trees like a spectral shroud. Madison held onto the pipe tightly, feeling the cold metal pulse with the power of the trapped spirit. Their tires screeched to a halt as the fog parted, revealing a swarm of the yellow-eyed keepers. The coyotes snarled, their teeth bared and saliva dripping from their elongated jaws. The buzzards circled above, their shadows like dark whispers in the moonlight. A bear, towering and twisted, let out a roar that sent tremors through the ground. "You might be fast," a demonic voice echoed through the night, "you might be good in the dark, but our teeth and our jaws are twice the size of yours, and when we get 'em into your flesh, we don't let go." Jake's heart hammered in his chest as he grabbed the map, the old paper feeling like the only thread of hope in the chaos. Madison looked at him, her eyes filled with a determination that seemed to cut through the fear. Alex clutched the revolver, the silver bullet glinting in the firelight. They knew what they had to do. They had to perform the second ritual, the one that would either save them or seal their fate. The battle was swift and brutal. The demonic animals leaped and snapped, their movements a blur of teeth and claws. Alex took a stand, firing the first shot. The bullet pierced the bear's skull, and it fell, a silent thud in the cacophony of the night. But the keepers were relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. Alex was grabbed by one of the coyotes, its teeth sinking into his arm. He screamed in agony, the silver bullet still in his grasp. Madison dove for him, her nails transforming into claws as she fought off the creature. In a desperate move, Jake shoved the map into the mouth of the nearest buzzard, setting it ablaze. The creature screeched, the flaming paper a beacon of pain and hope. The keepers recoiled, their yellow eyes flickering with confusion. It was at that moment that Jake realized the map was more than just a guide, it was a talisman, a weapon against the dark forces of the camp. With a roar of his own, Jake tore the map into shreds, throwing the fiery pieces into the air. The keepers fell, one by one, as the flaming pieces rained down upon them. But amidst the chaos, Alex's struggle grew weaker. Jake watched in horror as the coyote tore into his friend's flesh, the silver bullet slipping from his grasp. No! Madison's scream pierced the night as she wrestled with the creature, her own transformation complete. The three of them, now two, stood in the clearing, surrounded by the smoldering remains of the keepers. Alex lay in the dirt, his eyes glazed over, the silver bullet forgotten. Madison sobbed, her hands stained with blood and soot. Jake felt the rage of the chief within him, the need to avenge his father and now his friend. He knew what he had to do. The final battle with Bogey was upon them, and he had to win it. He had to end this nightmare.